Andrew here, and we're in a bit of a jam. And not the good kind of jam like raspberry jam that goes so good. Peanut butter and raspberry jam sandwiches. Oh, they're so good. And no, not that kind of jam. We're in the kind of jam where we have, as a society, stacked up some problems. I have talked about my difficulties with social situations. I'm a natural recluse. My favorite pastimes tend to involve me going somewhere alone to be away from people. That's my natural state of being. Now, being married for almost 20 years and having 3 kids and having 2 brothers and 2 sisters and a bunch of nephews and a niece and and so on and so on, I'm not a hermit. My life has not permitted me to be, but I am pretty reclusive. And the COVID lockdowns have brought that nature back to the forefront. I was always very solitary. I learned to not be, and I have relearned to be very solitary. And any sort of a social situation is very uncomfortable for me now. And I have to learn to readjust, okay? But what if you're like me lovely bride, who is a social person, who has problems with the fact that I would rather spend a quiet weekend reading a good book than go out and do something with all the family, not just our kids, but her parents, her sister, get together and do something. I'm not really wired for that. Obviously, I do it for my wife and kids, but it's not something that I would default to. It is something that she would default to. Well, last weekend, it was skating lessons for the boys. And I had a busy mess of house repairs to do, and not having the little guys underfoot while I was doing it seemed like a good idea. So she took them to the skating lessons, and I headed down to the hardware store to get what I needed. And I got at it. Well, when we got back, we were discussing it, and she just sort of volunteered that the viewing area, which up till this point we've noticed is pretty empty, there's just us watching the kids, had people in it. A lot of people. And enough so that they were, I don't know if it's uncomfortably close. I mean, I can't say because I wasn't there to view it, but they were noticeable. And my wife is pretty tolerant of other people in social situations, in crowds, and the things they do. They just wash over her. She doesn't notice them. I do, but she doesn't. Well, let me rephrase that. I do, and she didn't. But this time, now, she does. Now, this is a woman who, through the entire COVID lockdowns and restricted hours and business closures and so on and so forth, she's in a critical industry, and she is has a customer-facing position. So she was out every day, at work every day, with people every day. But even she is finding that the easing of restrictions is bringing people into closer contact, and it is becoming uncomfortable for her. If you are taking a situation where social people are now uncomfortable in social situations, what does that foreshadow? What is that going to mean for us? If indeed in 6 weeks and the fascist vaxports disappear, and in March the mask mandates go away and everything is open again, what does that mean? What's going to happen? People, in my limited experience, my social circle is very small, people are less comfortable around people. Which means that when they're around people, the friction will be greater. What's going to happen? I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. I will be observing and perhaps talking about it. But as I said at the beginning, we are in a bit of a jam. We have created, through forces outside of our control, thank you, China, we have created this problem. what is going to happen?